All right, we are live. Well, hello again to all the boys and girls out there in YouTube land watching. John and Ellie of Georgia Beer Reviews back at you today with a special live examination. We're doing stouts today. Any stout will do. We might be joined by a few other people, but for now, it is myself, and joining me is Mancl Komaroff. He doesn't have a YouTube channel, but he is a craft beer enthusiast. He's done a lot of traveling. He knows a lot about beer. And if you watch Louisiana Beer Reviews or Thomas Metal 75, he always joins our examinations. So thanks for joining me today, Mancl.
Great to be here.
And so we've got some pretty cool stouts. I think I'll let you show what you've got first.
Okay, this came out of a 4-pack or 12-pack of bottles with 4 different beers. And this is Sierra Nevada Coffee Stout. I don't think they've made a coffee stout before this, at least to my knowledge. So this must be like a specialty item, and it came in a 12-pack, got 3 bottles of it. It's 5.3%. I'm sorry, it's 6.2%. So it's a little bit higher than I would have thought for a coffee stout, but it does not have the IBUs on it, so I'm not sure what the IBUs. This one was packaged on 9/27.
Very nice.
Stouts hold up fairly well, though, so you don't really worry about the dating so much. Even with lower alcohol stouts, they're going to hold up obviously for 2 months. I mean, it should be no problem.
Right, and that being brewed by Sierra Nevada should be pretty easy to find for most people.
Right, and you should look, John, I was telling you, you should look for this 12-pack. I forgot what it's called. It was like a winter 12-pack because it had this. It had something called Holiday Days IPA. It had this other winter warmer lager, which I think you'd like, and their standard Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, which I'm sure you've had.
Right, yeah, very good beer. Okay, sounds good. I'll definitely be looking out for that one. I've got one that I'm super excited about, guys. I am drinking the brewery bakery. It says on the top, it says coconut macaroons, but it's the name of the beer is actually just bakery. It's an imperial stout aged in bourbon barrels with coconut and natural vanilla flavor added. It's 13% alcohol by volume. This is a company out of California. It says that this is brewed and canned by the brewery in Placentia, California.
That's a big beer.
Yeah, this is the company that makes they have their own line of sour beers called the Brewery Tarot, which I love all of their beers. I don't think I've really ever had just one of their standard line of beers. This is obviously a specialty beer that is around for the holidays, but 13% alcohol, that's up there. So I'm pretty excited about it, and I love the Death by Coconut Porter and some of the other beers I've had with I love coconut in beer, especially dark beers like this, so I'm pretty excited about it.
So you're going to put yours in your glass, and I will do the same.
Right. The chat here, in case anybody is watching.
Where's Bart Robinson when you need him?
That's a good question. He might be. Let's see if we got anybody on the chat here. All right, so let's get this pour.
You can look at mine as you're pouring. It has a very nice head.
Wow.
Here's mine. I poured mine liberally. You obviously did too.
It almost looks like a Guinness with that cascading head there.
Your color is really nice too.
Yeah, very, very dark. So what are you getting on the aroma with that beer, Mancl?
It's almost like cold brewed coffee, like straight up, like and some of the other coffee stouts that I've had lately have had this same kind of nose. It's almost like it's coffee without anything in it, like you just cold brewed it and didn't add any milk or sugar, and it's just the straight cold brewed, and it's a very nice coffee smell. Very nice. I like it.
All right.
What kind of nose does yours have?
This one, it's very, very pungent on the nose in a good way. A lot of coconut. I'm getting some dark chocolate. I'm getting a little I'm getting some bourbon notes with this. It does say, let's see. Yeah, it does say that it's aged in bourbon barrels. I'm definitely getting like a boozy, like bourbon note. But that's, I mean, by no means is that a negative quality. That's a really good quality with this. And at 13%, it's going to smell a little boozy, but in the best possible way. So coconut, vanilla, you get in the bourbon, a little bit of like dark chocolate. So if you've ever had the Mounds, it's a candy bar. It's like a coconut shavings with dark chocolate. It's got a little bit of that going on, and then you're getting the bourbon. But that's pretty much it with the aroma. It's very coconut, dark chocolate, and bourbon forward on the aroma. It smells good.
You ready to hit it?
Let's do it, man. Cheers. Oh, wow. A lot more dark chocolate coming through on the palate with this one. Man, the head is super creamy too. It's almost like a milk stout. It's got a very creamy mouthfeel to it. So what do you what are you getting?
Mine is all coffee, and maybe in some ways that may not go. We'll see how it goes as it warms. Right now, it's seemingly little bit too one note to me, because sometimes in these you want the malts to kind of balance off the taste of the coffee, but as it warms, it might get better. So I'm not going to draw a final conclusion yet.
Okay. I'm getting a lot of toasted coconut, which is nice. A nice toasted coconut. The chocolate is really coming through. It's more of a dark chocolate note than a milk chocolate note.
What about the alcohol? Can you taste the alcohol?
Not really yet, but I'm still trying to.
You're still going through the head. You're not completely.
I'm still trying to get to the good stuff here. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Wow. It doesn't taste boozy, but you can tell that this is a high alcohol beer, because immediately when you swallow it down, there's a significant warming with this beer. The toasted coconut, the dark chocolate, and that bourbon barrel presence is really coming through. Those are the three main components that I'm getting with this. I mean, first impressions with this beer is, I mean, outstanding. If you like dark chocolate, if you like coconut, I mean, if you like stouts, you're gonna like chocolate, because most good stouts are gonna have a chocolate character to them. I mean, I think some of the coffee ones, like the one you're drinking, the coffee might override some of that chocolate, but like your standard stouts, chocolate is very, very prominent in that flavor profile, at least from my experience with the stouts that I've had. I think this is, I mean, this is really, really good. It's a lot of coconut, though. If you're not a big coconut person, which I know you said the Death by Coconut, I think you thought that was a little too coconut forward for you, maybe. Was that your friend?
Was that Oscar Blues?
The Oscar Blues Death by Coconut.
Yeah, I thought it was too, and I also found the coconut to be artificial tasting. So that's what I didn't like about that specific beer. But I didn't hate it. It wasn't my exact kind of thing that, you know.
This kind of reminds me a little bit of that, in the sense that it's very coconut forward. But there is a lot of dark chocolate, and there is a lot of, one thing that's about this one that's really good is, you know, I love bourbon. So there's a lot of bourbon notes with this. There's a lot of that wood quality, that charred oak. There's some vanilla, some toffee, some caramel, all that stuff that you expect with a good bourbon is coming through with this as well. And it's really, really enjoyable.
So your flavors are balanced. That's very important in any stout.
It is very balanced. But the two big flavors are the coconut and the chocolate. And then that barrel presence comes through. So it is balanced, but I mean, if you like IPAs and super hoppy stuff, it's not balanced in that sense because there's no hop bite, there's no bitterness. It's all malt, all in your face, right up front. But I find that there's enough different malt qualities to be really unique and complex. But yeah, if you're expecting a hoppy beer, or if you're expecting a little bit of bitterness on the finish to balance it out that way, you're not going to get any with that. It's like a dessert beer.
I got it. I'm not sure so much this is as it's warming, because we just started this a few minutes ago, so it can't warm that fast. So it must be just the effect as I'm sitting and mulling it over. That one note thing is not as pronounced as I take more sips. It's almost like you're still getting the coffee, but you're also getting a little maltiness as a background. So it's not all, see, because if you have a coffee stout, and I've had several, and an important part of a coffee stout, it has to have some balance, because all coffee is not good. It doesn't have to necessarily be chocolate. And I don't think this is really a chocolate you're getting, but I'm getting a maltiness as a sidelight besides the coffee. And the maltiness is balancing the coffee, and that's making it better.
Right.
And I wouldn't say this is a world-class beer anyway, and I'm not going to give it a final score until we get a little bit later into this. But I guess what I'm trying to say is this will still be at least an A- beer to me.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I can already say that this is going to be an A for me. I didn't have this super cold because they recommend that you drink it. Actually, it says on the can here, it says best stored and served at 45 degrees. So I took it out of the fridge about half an hour ago. So significantly, but it's still got a chill to it. It's not, I don't really like drinking beers at room temperature. So it's still very cool. There's a lot of flavor with this. And as the heads died down and I'm getting into it a little bit more, the dark chocolate and the oak is coming through. The coconut was really the first thing that you picked up on, but the more you sip on it, the more those other qualities come through. So we were talking about balance. It's balanced on the malt side because there's a lot of different little notes going on with the malty qualities. But like I said, this might be considered by some people to be too sweet because there's no hop. There's nothing on the finish, no hop presence to balance it out that way. So the finish is a little, it's a wet finish. It's not a dry finish. It's not really crisp like you would get with an IPA. The refreshingness of this beer, it is refreshing in the sense that it's sweet and malty and like a dessert type beer, but this is definitely a sipper. And if you were to drink too much of this, 13%, I mean, it's really not something you would want to drink too much of, but one 16-ounce can over the course of like an hour or so, it's very enjoyable. And I do think it's excellent. I would highly recommend it, but it's just something that you could, you have to be very careful with, and it's a one and done type deal.
When I do the stouts and some of the porters as well in my monthly tastings, and also some of the ones I've done at the Beach Club, you start out with these beers at the same temperature as IPAs and stuff. And sometimes I wonder, maybe you should let these sit out so that I'm not saying down to room temperature, but maybe a little bit warmer, because sometimes when you drink them so quickly, and when we do these, you have, what do you have, 7-8 minutes of beer or whatever it is to sip it and finish it. You're not getting the final feel, because sometimes the warming effect really changes what you get in the beer, and you can get some extra things, which maybe you get the coffee at the beginning. Like I said, after a couple of minutes drinking, now I'm getting the roasted malt qualities in it, and that's what makes it more balanced. It makes it a better beer. And I think even Guinness, when you serve it, it's not supposed to be fully chilled. They have a higher temperature also that you're supposed to drink it at.
Right. A lot of the stouts on the cans and bottles that I've seen of a lot of different varieties, I think that the go-to temperature with this type of beer, for the most part, especially with your imperial stuff, your higher ABV stuff, is around 45 degrees. And Tyler is watching live. He says, this Bourbon County Stout bottle looks so fancy. I don't know if I should open it. You should open it, Tyler, and join us live. I sent you the link. We'd love to have you. Just hang out for a few minutes. If not, that's okay too. You can join us off air, but we'd love to have you join us, Tyler. Let the people know about the Bourbon County Stout.
And I have
national release day today.
I've got room on my sheet to fit you in, Tyler. It'll be exciting.
Hey, Mancl wants to put you in his little book. That's you gotta join us, man. I mean, no pressure though. You could join us off air, but we'd love to have you.
So Tyler was able to find the 2018 Bourbon County on Black Friday, which is terrific. That means it's getting its distribution.
I couldn't find it because I worked today, and on my way home, I found this, which is awesome. But I was looking for the Bourbon County Stout is the main reason I went, and they didn't have it yet. So my area is a little behind.
Will you have time while you're in Alabama to go to some of the local places around your parents to see if they have it?
Yeah, there's a place that I'm going to go to before I head back to Georgia. It's called World Market, and I get a lot of really good craft beers from them. Actually, I don't know if you're familiar, but I have that big book called the Beer Bible. I actually got that from World Market. I get a lot of cool beer type stuff from them. They have a lot of really good limited release Lagunitas 22-ounce bombers.
Right.
So yeah, I will definitely check out World Market, and hopefully they'll have it. But I haven't looked up. I don't know if you've done any research. They always have set a lot of different versions of the Bourbon County Stout. So I would be interested to know. I think last year they had 6.
This year
I'd be interested to know if they've added any more.
Yeah, they have 8, including some they've never done. They have an orange one, like some kind of citrus in it, orange the fruit, which I think would be very interesting in a high alcohol stout to have, like an orange influence, the citrus versus. Guess who's here? I could add him to my list. Hey, Tyler.
Oh, thank you so much for joining, Tyler. For everybody out there that might be watching, this is the famous Tyler Mancl. Good to have you, buddy. So show us what you got.
Yeah, good to see you guys. Currently drinking some Starbucks coffee, but yeah, I guess I'll decide to enjoy this with you. This will be memorable. Why not? I've never had Bourbon County before. This is the 2018. This is the original. It has intense aromas of charred oak, vanilla, caramel, and smoke. This is actually 1 pint, 0.9 fluid ounces. So,
what's the alcohol?
16.9. This is this is 15.2% alcohol by volume.
I
was saying 16.9.
The main stout in Georgia.
So yeah,
I can't get that one here, Tyler. The limit's 14%.
But yeah, I was surprised to see that.
How about Alabama? Does Alabama have an alcohol limit or not?
I think it's 14% in Alabama and Georgia. Yeah,
that's a shame.
I have to go to I think Florida has the same restrictions. I think I have to go to either Louisiana or
what about
South Carolina?
Tennessee? Tennessee have a restriction?
Maybe I might be able to get it in Tennessee. I'm not sure about Tennessee.
Tyler, I'm excited to see you drink this because I've had the other years, and this stuff it's going to knock your socks off. I'm telling you.
I have 2 bottles, so it says developed in the bottle up to 5 years. I do plan on keeping one a little longer, but I'll enjoy one today.
And go slow with it. Because 15% is action. John's was 13%.
I thought I was doing some damage with my 13%. Tyler's blowing me away with his Bourbon County there. So
and Tyler, if you haven't seen this, I have a coffee stout from Sierra Nevada that's only 6.2, which means I'm like a baby guy. But
6.2, yeah, right. Nice. How is that?
It's really good. It started out very coffee forward. Now the roasted malts are blending with it. I'm starting to really like it.
You might laugh at the cup that I chose to use. You're supposed to use a snifter for this, but I'm using a little cup like this.
Whatever you got, this stuff, it doesn't matter where you put it. It's gonna. It's the only beer that I've ever given a 99.
It's the only beer that I've given 2 beers perfect scores. That's one of them.
What kind of
different? version get that one, but still, all of them, I'm sure they're all excellent.
What kind of nose are you getting on that beer? I can imagine, but
caramel. The most upfront aroma that I get is caramel.
Okay.
Very sweet. It's definitely intense. I'm getting a little bit of the oak, a little bit. Yep, definitely getting that. And then, you know, you're supposed to get smoke with it. Am I getting any smoke? Maybe I'll get more of that. I guess, yeah, definitely. Maybe a little bit of smoke, but it's interesting. It's very intense. You almost get kind of like a dark cherry note almost, I want to say, but it's not really turning me off, because a lot of times the dark cherry notes and stouts will turn me off, but it's
almost like a black cherry with the pit in the middle, like one of those type of cherries.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
I think they're black. I think that's what you call them, black cherry. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think it is black cherry, because the other cherries, like maraschino cherries, are more of a light cherry. This is more of a deeper cherry, like you get a dark fruit kind of cherry.
No, I don't think I've ever had anything over 15% when it comes to beer, and really, I'm not getting alcohol. I'm getting like a syrupy, intense aroma, and it's very complex. A little bit of chocolate, maybe.
I'm almost ready to taste it, because I'm really excited.
Definitely not.
Yeah, we've already tasted ours, Tyler. So cheers.
Enjoy.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving, and happy holidays, everybody. It's a holiday miracle. Tyler Mancl has joined us on this live examination.
Wow, a lot of flavor. A lot of flavor is packed into that. It tastes a lot like caramel, getting a little bit of vanilla. Very sweet. It's bold. It's, when it comes to the intricate flavors, there's nothing like it, because this is jam packed with flavor. Jam packed, and it's silky smooth. It is.
God, it looks good. Just looking at it on the camera here, it looks amazing.
Yeah, it's a little thick, a little heavy on the mouthfeel, but it's very pleasant and silky smooth. Oh yeah, it's good. That is very good. Now, I don't really get this smoke as much as maybe I don't know what I'm looking for when it comes to that, the smokiness in beer, but wow, is this good. I can really taste the oak sitting on my tongue now, and the wood. How long is this aged, by the way?
I'm not sure, but I'm sure it's aged at least 6 months.
I was going to say, I think all of the Bourbon County Stout, their entire line is at least 6 months. And I think the premium ones, which you might have one of the more premiumly priced ones with that higher ABV, I want to say the one you have is probably aged more like 8 months. But I honestly, I don't know.
Wow.
They have something, Tyler, they may call proprietary blend, and that's the one that's usually a longer time. But I'm not sure about the one you have. I'm sure each of them are at least 6 months, though.
I bought 2 of them at the release event at Total Wine at Northgate, Seattle, and it cost me about $28.60 for 2 bottles.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Okay price. I usually can get them discounted if you wait a little while at Whole Foods for $9.99 each but it may not be the 15.2%. There's a lower variety also that might be in your alcohol range, John, that you could get like 13.8.
Well, the one I had last year was like 12 or 13%. The blueberry almond one that I had, that one was $18 a bottle. So Tyler, and it was less ABV. So Tyler got a deal on his. Yeah.
So they had a wheat wine, they had orange, and another flavor there, but didn't really appeal to me. I was maybe going to get the wheat wine, but I decided just to get 2 of the originals. But they didn't have the blueberry. If they had the blueberry, I would have gotten it. That sounds really good. But
there are 8 varieties this year. I mentioned to John before the orange variety that you saw. That's a new one that they've never done before, and there are 8.
I'll tell you what, a lot of people are buying the orange one. A lot of people, I was surprised. And everyone there was buying cases of it. The bills were like $120, $130. I was one of the few that spent, like $30. That was not much. A lot of people were buying a lot of bottles.
People come out on Black Friday and they buy it, and then they cellar some of it. They drink some of it. I'll be buying some in the next couple of weeks for sure.
This is good.
That's an interesting. That's an interesting point you make, Michael. Today is Black Friday. It's also the national release day for the product, for the lineup. So I wonder if Tyler got a Black Friday deal. I wonder if the price of that beer is going to go up within the next couple of days.
It's possible, because I guess they figure they'll make a little bit of profit at the beginning and they'll increase it as time goes on. But it depends, because a lot of times this stuff sells out very quickly.
I'll give Total Wine credit. They kept the line just flowing. I showed up there like 9:05. I was out at like 9:20 at the latest with my beer. And at the checkouts, the lines were just flowing right through. A lot of people, though.
Nice.
See, that's a nice thing, Tyler. By being in Seattle, which is a major city, they're going to get a lot of the Goose Island, Bourbon Barrel County stuff. And I know in New York, where I am, we're going to get a lot of it also. And Whole Foods always has it. So it's just a matter of when I get over there. Today we're still in the Arctic freeze. It's only like 29 degrees or 30 degrees here. But it's supposed to warm up tomorrow. And I'll get out and get a chance to check. My food co-op always gets it, but it's always higher price than Whole Foods. And if I can get a discount, I'd rather not, but I will buy it in the co-op if I can't get it anywhere else.
I will say that the standard version of the Bourbon County Stout last year, I think, was only like 12.4%, because I could get that one in addition to the blueberry one. So they've upped the ante for the standard version this year, 15.2. Yep. So that's a big jump. So I would be interested to see. I hope they still make the blueberry almond one that I had, because I loved it. I hope they haven't upped the ABV over 14%, because then I won't be able to get it. So I'm really excited to see which products from that line that I'll be able to get.
Usually have a barley wine one, which seems like every year that's one of the ones in their series.
They have a wheat wine this year.
And Tyler said the wheat wine. I haven't seen that.
Now that's interesting. I wonder if the wheat wine is it a wheat wine? Is it a wheat beer that's aged in like wine? I mean, what is that?
Something
must be a high ABV.
Because it's a stout line. So I've never had a stout, I don't think, that has wheat in it. All the stouts are like dark roasted barley malt. There's no adjuncts. There wouldn't be any wheat in there. So that's interesting.
One thing that kind of surprised me is this was bottled on the 31st of August. I thought maybe it'd be bottled a little sooner or closer to the release date, but
the thing about those beers is they always bottle them a month or two in advance. You don't want a beer super fresh. Like, you want that beer to sit for a minute before you get your hands on it. And obviously, like you said, Tyler, if you were able to cellar, if you had I'd never have the patience to do that, but you could cellar that beer for years and years, and then drink it in like 2025 even. It would be amazing.
I plan on saving the other one I have, because it's pretty memorable. My first ever time having it. Hopefully it'll be sometime. I don't think I'll drink it right away.
I told you, I think, John, the last time we spoke, I still have 5 bottles from 2017 and 2 from 2016. And I would like to, at some point, do a vertical where you compare the difference in 3 years at the same time. But the problem is you need a big group of people to do it. Because when you're talking about,
I got a first class ticket up to New York for next week, so I'll be seeing you soon, buddy.
Can't wait.
And that sounds awesome. That sounds awesome.
But you can even do one with people on the like this kind of thing, where somebody has an 18 and I have one of mine. I could do one by myself for sure. I'm willing to do one of the ones I've saved. I mean, it's like if you are motivated though to cellar stuff, it's not easy, because there've been times when I wanted to try these and have one and whatever, but I've always had other stuff that I could try, so I'm not forced to do it. And that's it. And like Tyler said, it recommends on the bottle you can cellar it up to 5 years. So you know you can go that far. And you can go more than that if you want.
Right.
It's not an exact science. Like,
it makes you feel bad opening it. You know, it has this big fancy tab right here. Develops in the bottle up to 5 years.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's we could get carried. We'll talk more off air about the specifics of the Goose Island Bourbon County Stout and all the different varieties. But for this examination, we're looking at stout. So we'll start back with you, Michael. What are you thinking about for a rating? And give us your final thoughts on the beer.
I told you A-. I've decided on 91 as my number. I've decided on 92. I'm going a little bit higher than that. 92 is my number. So it's a solid, it's bordering on an A, because what happened is after that first sip, when it was just straight coffee, the roasted malts did kick in, and you got a combination of coffee and roasted malts, and that makes it much better. So I really like it. And if you ask me what they could do to make it better, I guess it could be less coffee intense, but it is a coffee stout, so it has to be coffee intense. So the coffee's very intense. Maybe you could have, toned the coffee down with something else to make it a little bit less coffee, and that could have made it better. But 92 is a good rating. I mean, it's not like
that's like an A-. I mean, it's good. Yeah,
it's a solid A-, bordering on an A. And I've never had a Sierra Nevada beer I didn't like. So at least I don't love everyone they have, because we were also discussing last week the what's their beer that's Celebration.
Yep. Celebration.
Yeah, which I still haven't had that. Yeah,
okay, I haven't had this year's yet, but I looked it up yesterday because somebody else in another beer review I was watching made it seem like the Celebration was a winter warmer. It is not. It's an IPA.
But it is 7.5% ABV,
so
and
it's a high alcohol.
For a mass-produced item, it'll sure warm you up.
No, it's fine. I like it. And actually, if anything, maybe the newer beer drinker in me, and I'm gonna have to get at least a bottle of it just to try it. It seems to have gotten more malty as the years have gone on. It used to be more like the Torpedo, except it was kind of like a seasonal, holiday variety. It was lower alcohol. The Torpedo is 7.2. So this is in the same range, I guess.
I feel like Celebration IPA is a perfect name for it, because it really is. Just has a little bit more spices with it. But it's good.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll go ahead and give you my rating on this, Tyler. You kind of just open yours, so sip on yours for another minute or two. And then we'll get to you with a rating. The brewery, which I know is out there close to where you live, Tyler. I don't know if you saw this earlier, but I'm drinking the brewery. It's their bakery stout. It's an imperial stout aged in bourbon barrels with coconut and natural flavor added. It is 13%. So I've been sipping on this for a while. As it's warmed, initially the coconut and the dark chocolate were coming through, like, first and foremost. And as it warms a little bit, that bourbon barrel presence is coming through a little bit more. So vanilla, toffee, of course that charred oak as well a little bit. So which kind of comes through as a smoky quality with a beer like this. Excellent beer. I think that this is probably a 97 out of 100. And like I said earlier, they have a great line of beers. They make beers like this just from the brewery line. Then they have an entirely separate line of sour beers called the Brewery Terreaux line. TERREUX, I think. It's a sour line of beers, and they are by far the best sours that I've had. So I think they make excellent beers. This one is no exception. This stout is a 97 out of 100. But if you don't like coconut and you don't like bourbon, stay away from it because you won't like it. But if you do like those things, you'll love this beer. The 13% is masked very well. It is warming, though, which, you can expect that with a high ABV beer anyway. But it's an excellent beer, and I would highly recommend it to anybody out there, especially for this holiday season. This would be an excellent beer to drink sitting by the fire, that type of thing. Excellent beer. So Tyler, what do you give us your thoughts on that that Bourbon County Stout? What do you think?
There's two things that stand out to me: how unique it is, and how hard it is to give it an honest rating because it's so unique, and so there's reaching to a percent that you just can't go out and buy. You know, I can't go out and buy a 15.2% stout, so it's so unique. You know, I don't know, but when it comes to the flavors and what I'm tasting, I'm thinking about Central Waters bourbon barrel stout, aged stout that they age. That's something I had the one that they did in October last year. I had it numerous times, and oh, when it comes to, I'd rather probably drink that over this, but that doesn't take away anything from what this beer is. I just think that shows how underrated Central Waters is because this is to the quality of that. It's just 15% ABV, which is such a difference because they do 9.5 at Central Waters. So that difference creates more intense flavors, I think. So it's very unique. I'll probably give it a 97 to a 98 out of 100. But
wow. Okay.
You know, so it's definitely world class just for what they're doing. It's amazing. But yeah, I have to throw in the word Central Waters when I talk about this beer though, because they are world class as well.
And I know you talk about Central Waters a lot. I'm hopefully I will be able to try Central Waters beer someday. I know it's a really good craft brewery, and they're actually out of Wisconsin, right, where you lived before you moved out to Seattle.
Yep, they have the biggest bourbon barrel aged facility in Wisconsin. It's right in central Wisconsin in Amherst, Wisconsin, and they have it's called Brewers Reserve, where it's pretty much what they're trying to do with this beer, just a little toned down. But they do such a good job. It tastes so clean.
Now the Satin Solitude, was that a stout or was that a different one that
year-round imperial stout? Very good.
Okay.
And that's so underrated. I'm glad you know about that because yeah, that's a
well. I know about it from you, and unfortunately, I've never been able to try it because I in Georgia we don't get any of the Central Waters beers. I think Mancl can get some of their stuff out there in New York.
I had the one that Tyler likes the least, the Peruvian Morning, which I did like, but I didn't think was great. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
And I had a chance to try the other one, which I didn't buy. I wish I had bought. Remember, Tyler, the first one that I had an opportunity to buy?
That's the Brewers Reserve.
And that was the Brewers Reserve, and I didn't buy it. See, it shows you I was worn down, but I wasn't worn down at the right time. I should have bought that also. So I ask in my food co-ops for them to get it. They can't always get it. They can get it sometimes, kind of thing. So our distributor that we deal with has access to Central Waters, which is a good thing. It's just that my the buyer at my food co-op has X amount of room to put beer out. There are 3 different sections in the co-op with beer. There's cans in one spot, there's bottles, and then they have specialty, stuff that's on sale and they're trying to get rid of. So that combination, she has X amount of space, and Central Waters has a spot, but it doesn't always get filled. Sometimes, they stick other stuff in there. But I'm watching for it. I would buy another one. I would try another Central Waters beer. The Peruvian Morning was not bad. It just wasn't great.
Yeah.
And after what you said about the Brewers Reserve, I kind of thought it might be better, but it was still good. And that was also a coffee-related stout as well. More alcohol than this 6.2 that I'm drinking now.
They featured local coffee from Stevens Point, Wisconsin, actually, in that beer. And yeah, it's like kind of how you're describing that Sierra Nevada coffee, where it's not bad, but it's it's just that coffee sometimes is too much and it takes away that what you're actually trying to get from a stout sometimes.
I guess also, I didn't mention this before, maybe there's a way to put kind of a dark chocolate taste in a coffee stout. I'm sure somebody has done that already, where that's the secondary taste. You do get a little dark chocolate or dark fruit, and that would help. But I guess what Sierra Nevada would say is this is specifically a coffee stout. We're not looking for these extra companion tastes to be involved in it. And we are getting more of these cold brewed kind of coffee stouts coming out. So it gets the check mark on that. It tastes like a cold brewed coffee.
it's almost like a separate style now. You have your milk stouts, and then you have your coffee stouts, and then you have coffee milk stouts. So like the Narragansett, it's actually called coffee milk stout, the Autocrat coffee milk stout on the label. I was disappointed with that because it had no creaminess in the mouthfeel, or that's where it was lacking for me. It was an excellent coffee flavored beer, but it was almost like if you took a standard Narragansett, which I haven't had, but let's say a standard lager, and you poured black coffee right into it. That's what I was getting. So it was very bitter, not from hops, but from the coffee itself. Right. And it was it lacked that dimension, that extra that cream-like quality that I was expecting, especially because they called it a milk stout right on the label. If they didn't call it a milk stout, I would have been like, okay, right, fine. But they call it a milk stout, so right. I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's see. We've got 4 viewers, so thank you everybody that's watching right now. Tyler, I'm really glad you got to join us. We'll go around the panel one more time. We'll give our final thoughts just on stouts in general, and then we'll close this out. So, Michael,
okay,
the stout you had today was excellent, on the lower end, but still excellent. What do you think about stouts in general as a style?
The season that we're going into with the colder weather is when people drink stouts. And I actually drink stouts year round, but I drink more stouts, I think, in the fall and winter because it fits more in the style. And I do like stouts. They're probably among my favorite style as I think about it. Now, I still like IPAs. I'll always like IPAs, but I do really, really love stouts. And as we were discussing a couple of days ago, it was only 2 days ago on Wednesday, that stouts give you the ability with a lot of different layers of stuff that you can discuss in its, the different flavor characteristics. So it does have that. Differing styles from, almost like session stouts all the way up to something like Tyler's drinking at 15.2, which is a big variation. But Tyler said even at 15.2, he still could get all those taste profiles out of it. The booze did not cover up the different tastes, which is very important. You don't want it to be so boozy that you can't taste the oak, you can't taste the vanilla, you can't taste the other things. So he had a layered taste feel, and that's how stouts can be when they're at a very high level. So I really enjoy stouts, and I look forward to drinking them more as the weather gets cooler. And then I still drink in the summertime. I have stouts too, but you really wouldn't want a heavy stout in the summer because then you're going to be sweating and it's not going to be comfortable.
Yeah, I guess. And I'll go ahead and go real quick, and then I'll let Tyler have the final word with stouts. Stouts are excellent. I think pretty much they're great all year round. It's kind of like what you're saying, Michael, but I wouldn't drink a stout out by the pool in 90-degree weather. If you drink it in your nice air-conditioned home, who cares? It could be 120 degrees outside. As long as you're drinking it in the appropriate temperature, I think you're going to be fine. I love stouts and all year round, especially in the summer. I like to, do my thing outside, whatever, come inside. Okay, I'm all hot and sweaty, but I'm in the air-conditioned environment, so a stout is perfectly acceptable. It's one of my favorite styles: porter, stouts, sours. I like malt forward beers. I like a lot of qualities that you get from stouts. So I love stouts. I think they're a great all year round beer. I think we got some really good ones today. I'm so excited that we did this, and we all got some pretty awesome products, especially Tyler with the Bourbon County Stout national release today. You're one of the first people on YouTube to drink this, so for this year, so that's awesome. And we'll close it out with Tyler. Your final thoughts on stouts, and then we'll go off air, and then that'll be it.
I'll give you my final thoughts here on the Bourbon County Stout and then stouts overall. When it comes to this stout, like I said, it's so unique, such high ABV, but the caramel and the caramel taste that I get from this is just amazing. It's like they used syrup in here, a lot of caramel syrup, or they those wrapped caramel bars where they come in those see-through clear wrappers, and it's like the candy caramel. you know, it's like they've melted caramel into this, and you can almost taste that sugar quality, and it tastes high quality, and it tastes so good. But it's like a luxurious candy like product, so it's very good. And then stouts overall, as it gets colder, I drink them more and more, and I love them because they really do make you feel warm. I used to not like them when I first got into beer because I really didn't understand them, but they're good. Don't be afraid of stouts. If you really want a good stout, check out Central Waters. Check them out. They do a good job.
All right. Thanks so much, Michael and Tyler, for joining me on this live examination. Yeah, if you've never had a stout, if anybody out there has never had a stout and you like beer, you should definitely try stouts because, I mean, it's a completely different thing. You get the roasted barley malt, so you get like a beer character, but it's a darker, deeper, more complex version. So if anybody out there is watching this and you haven't had a stout yet, try it. And of course, if you can get the Bourbon County Stout, try that. And Central Waters, I can't get it, but if you live anywhere near where the brewery is in area, look, or New York, or I guess the top.
John, you just froze.
Part of the country. I froze.
Yeah, now you're out again. Okay.
You're back.
Oh, sorry. Well, anyway, I was just saying, yeah, check out some stouts. It's an excellent style. And we'll end it there, guys. Thank you for joining me. Thanks to all the viewers out there. That'll do it for this live examination. Hope you all are having a wonderful day. And
until next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That's right.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.